John Lord here again, and we are going to talk about Japanese maples. Now, the thing about Japanese maples is very, very simple. A lot of the stuff written about Japanese maples in the books is not true. Specifically that they won't tolerate lime, which is complete and total rubbish. And I've seen it written in more books than I care to imagine. But I'm very limey ground here, and I've never had a single bit of trouble with lime with Japanese maple. So don't worry, if you live in limey ground, if you're on limey ground, you can grow Japanese maples to your heart's content. What they do like is the Irish weather. Every part of the Irish weather. They love the rain and love the heavy Irish soil. They don't like the Irish wind. That's the one thing they don't like. So you plant them in a shady spot where they don't get the wind, because in Ireland the wind comes from the south normally, and the southwest or the south, which is where the sun comes from. So if you plant your Japanese maple north facing, where it doesn't get much sun, it also doesn't get much wind. So that's just a good thing to remember. And another thing about Japanese maples, they are very, very easy to move. They have a very nice, easily managed fibrous root system, and quite old plants can be lifted and moved. So don't be afraid if you're in the wrong place, and if they're given trouble, they can be moved. Now, we start with this. There's two types. No, well, yeah, okay. Two types of Japanese maples. There's the cut leaf type, and it's called a cut leaf type because, surprise, surprise, the leaves are cut. You see, they're cut, like you got little scissors and cut them. It's called a cut leaf type. Now, they tend to grow this way, though there are a few upright ones, but they often tend to grow that way, and they are more susceptible to wind damage. So you have to plant them in definitely more sheltered spots. Now, this one here is, I think, Garnet, and if it always grows out. But what you can do, if you want, you can get a bamboo cane and you can grow it up tall, and it'll form a fountain then. And I have done that with one of them over here, and we'll have a look at the one that was done to over here. Now, here's the same Japanese maple as the previous one, and about 6 years ago I got a bamboo cane and I put it through it, and I got a long whippy growth like this here, and I just trained it up. And what I'm going to do over the next few years is gradually remove all the bottom branches, so we're going to get a waterfall branches from the top. Now, I figured all this out myself, but the Japanese obviously do it far better, because that's what Japanese do. So that's the cut leaf maples. Now, the other type of Japanese maples are the more upright types, and we'll have a look at them now. Here we have the other type of Japanese maple, the ordinary upright type, and this is, people say Japanese maples are small trees. This is one called Bloodgood, and as you can see, it can actually grow quite tall. And once again, this is north, that's the south there, so it's facing north, and that's why it's doing so well. It's at the edge of a pond, and we once upon a time had something here, and we hacked it down, and it didn't regrow, because once upon a time they were perfectly proportioned, but the maple kept growing. So all we have now is a maple, and this one here, the wedding cake tree, and a Buddha that needs to go. See our nice little Buddha here, it needs to go on a bit of a diet. Very cute. We have here a variety called Katsura, and it's one of the golden ones, and it's planted here only a year. It was grown for 5 years in the border, and it got too big, so we lifted it out, stuck it here last January, and we made a frame. See it in here? We made a frame to stop it rocking in the wind, because you never firm too much, you keep the ground nice and loose. And it's a smallish leafed one, and I've noticed it's very resistant to wind damage, so it's going to be much, much better next year, because it's slightly sad looking, because there's still a little bit of root damage from last year, but next year that'll all be behind it, and it will make an absolutely amazing specimen tree. It's called Acer palmatum Katsura. And now, to finish off, we also planted one called Orange Dream over there, and we're going to have a look at Orange Dream, and that wasn't so successful. This is Japanese maple Orange Dream, and it hasn't turned out such a dream for us. But by your mistakes you learn. Now I don't know why, but it's got it's obviously the wind. We thought it would be sheltered here, but perhaps you never know in a site where the wind, whatever way the conditions, the particular conditions, the wind must just whip around. On this side all the leaves got burned, where our sides are far better. But anyway, it's not right here, it's too bulky. It's not enough area around it, so it was a mistake. When it was planted here in the winter with no leaves on it, it looked proportionate, but it's just too big. So it has to be moved. So I'm going to move that next month when the leaves, you can nearly move it now, but I'll move it next month, and we're going to move it into a more sheltered spot, and we're going to put this in its place. Because see what's happened here, that miscanthus, it's been crowded out by the physocarpus behind it, and I think, I'm not 100%, but if that was in a more open situation, it wouldn't lean, it would be straight up. So I think if we put it here, it would be just perfect. So that's what we're doing next month. And that's the thing about gardening. You do one thing, and that leads you onto something else, and that makes you back in the leads you onto something else, and then you start off back at square one again.